got me singing. Ooh, my oh my, just get to me, baby. Come on, slide your hand over. Oh, get to me, baby. I wanna get to know you. Oh, skate to me, my baby. Come on, slide your hand over. Oh, skate to me, my baby. I wanna get to know you.
I feel like falling in love.
Hello, Middlebury! Oh, come on, you guys can do better than that. Hello, Middlebury! Yeah! All right.
Welcome to the 2023 Spencer Prize Grand Championship.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Shay, and we will be your Spencer Prize MCs for the evening.
We have a lovely show for you tonight. We have searched far and wide all throughout January to look for tonight's champion. And I'm sure you've seen them around campus, 35 amazing speakers all here throughout this competition, and we have the finalists here tonight.
Yes, so each of those 35 speakers got an email saying you have been nominated by a Middlebury faculty or staff member.
And each and every one of them accepted the challenge and gave an original 3-minute speech.
They then stepped up in front of peers, community members, teachers, a panel of judges, and they delivered.
And Sade and I were there, and let's just say they did an amazing job.
Absolutely incredible. Tonight, our 6 finalists will have 5 minutes to connect something they learned in a Middlebury classroom to something they care about.
Tonight's judging will be based off of 3 criteria: compelling connection, engaging delivery, and persuasive argument.
Yes, so let's find out who will be our 2023 Spencer Prize champion. Will it be Shay?
Will it be Latu?
Will it be Serena?
Will it be Xander?
Will it be Carolina?
And last, but certainly not least, will it be Aaron?
So, the order of our speakers will be determined by
The Spencer Prize 5-gallon bucket of truth. For all those who were there during the qualifying rounds, you know how scary this can be. But
terrifying.
let's not make them wait any longer. Let's see who our first speaker is.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. Yeah.
Our first speaker will be Shay.
Shay, come on up.
Skis gliding on a trail of fresh powder. Monstrous snow-capped pines surround you. Screaming, because this feeling cannot be real. This feeling of euphoria, the perfect convergence of science and spirituality, as the chemicals in your brain enable the stages of awe. First, an overflow of warmth. Second, recognition of this warmth. Third, bafflement. And finally, an appreciation of its power. I grew up in a household in which science and spirituality coexisted beautifully. My sisters and I attended science camp and Jewish summer camp back to back, blending Shabbat and insect examination in my head. But as I've grown older, a narrative arguing for the importance of science has claimed with an egotistical confidence, no, your spirituality's foolish. They've done the studies and labs and tests, and this feeling can be explained. Haven't you heard? Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, adrenaline, the endorphins in your brain, they're chemicals. The unbelievable beauty of snow on trees, that isn't spirituality. It's your brain reacting to the natural water cycle. Now, don't get me wrong. I wholeheartedly trust the biological explanations of ourselves and this planet. I'm here to study environmental science. But do these chemical explanations fulfill the feeling of meaning, of awe, of the absolute helplessness you feel? According to the studies, they must. But does this scientific fulfillment exclude something more? In my world philosophy class, David Abram, the guru of deep ecology theories, argued for the merit of being open to the forces of our natural world, with spiritual beliefs as a supplement to science. So I grasp onto scenarios in my life as proof that this spirituality, that my version of spirituality may exist. You're lying on a warm dock on a late summer night next to your sister or brother or cousin. And as you watch the stars glimmer, you feel completely and utterly at peace. Okay, no, but close your eyes. You're staring into the eyes of someone you love. An unexplainable wave of admiration, affection, appreciation for this human being. Do you feel it? The euphoria? Losing yourself to something, someone, yourself. To me, it's the enclosement of white trees, but the impetus behind euphoria is different for everyone, my friends and family tell me. To Ainsley, holding hands at summer camp, dancing, celebrating, chanting for each other. To Dakota, the wordless music telepathy between the pianist and drummer through rhythm and blues. To my dad, holding his newborn daughters for the first time. These moments break walls, connecting yourself, this earth, and the very people that share it with you. The truth of science proves the phenomena of this world, while the truths of art, poetry, Torah, or even euphoria prove why these phenomena matter. Science and evidence-based study of how things work, science finding the reasoning behind the glimmering stars, science explaining the truth behind the absence of snow on your monstrous trees. But does science explain our moral obligation to address the looming crisis of our changing planet? Does it explain our responsibilities or who we are meant to be in this world? Spirituality, a word and definition far from objective, sparking associations of divinity, judgment, disgust, community. For me, a sense of connection, euphoria that cannot be explained. Science is vital because it enables this magic, categorizing and quantifying the magic of euphoria. But the belief in the vitality of these core euphoric moments, driving a deep, wrenching love, is central to finding and valuing the meaning in our lives. In the affair of science and spirituality, in which we are the product of science and the producer of spirituality, the two truths work together in a love story of symbiosis, creating a capital T truth of our lives, as their meaning is lost without the other. Thank you.
What an amazing speech.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing job.
And now it's time for another amazing speaker. Can we get another drum roll, please? Our second speaker of the night will be Serena.
Why can't I ski? Just last week, as my roommate and I are boarding the magic carpet at our first ski lesson at the Middlebury Snowball, there's a mother and her son in front of us, and the mother looks at the son, and the son is complaining about how difficult it is to ski, and the mother looks at him and says, "Look at all these people on the hill learning to ski as 20-year-olds. You get to do it now. You're the lucky one." And my roommate and I look at each other and chuckle. I am the first person in my family to traverse the slopes along with my siblings. My parents were not privy to the privileges that they bestowed upon my siblings and I. For a lot of my friends here, skiing has been the foundation of their family bonding activities, and that's been really interesting to note. Furthermore, at my ski lesson, it's been predominantly students of color, and it's so clear to me that intergenerational knowledge and wealth is at play. Studying Derek Bell's critical race theory in my education in the US class has fundamentally changed the way that I view marginality. He believes that eradicating racism is the same thing as overcoming the fact that we're all gonna die, something that is just not possible. Instead, he came up with a groundbreaking theory, and this is as such. He believes that people at the margins can look into a system and see what's working and what's not working in a way that people at the center, historically privileged people, simply cannot. Applying this to the ski community, applying this framework to the ski community, I think is revolutionary, and let me tell you why. To me, racializing the outdoors looks like seeing like people that look like me at the top of the slopes. It goes further than the ability to finance such a sport, which Middlebury strives towards, but it's really about psychological accessibility. Already, there are so many barriers to entry. You have to pay for ski passes and rentals and equipment, but furthermore, you have to permeate social, cultural, and institutional barriers. Even last week, I saw 2 Indian men at the bottom of the slopes using jeans as snow pants, and it kind of broke my heart. My question to you is as such: how are we gonna cultivate and champion a community that inspires and incentivizes people of color to get to the top of the slopes, that we equate this white-dominated sport with people of color as well? Well, here are my ideas. The first is, I think, realizing, and this is a principle we talked about in my education in the US class constantly, but realizing that the way forward is so incredibly awkward. Even for me, as someone who loves public speaking, my hands are clammy and my heart is beating out of my chest, but still, I'm coming back for more. And why? Well, perhaps that's the point. I think it's really important to find comfort in the uncomfortable, and maybe even derive joy from that. During my Febmester, I hiked through the Andes, and I realized that living at the edge of your comfort zone and living at the crossroads is truly where the most magic is derived, and truly where the most self-growth happens. The second thing I realized in my class, and now applying here, is that privilege is so important to acknowledge. Typically, people with the most privilege are the most blind to it. I read an article that 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. So essentially, we're just going through life unconsciously. How do we break that cycle? Maybe take a cold shower, wake up, and realize that it's up to us to wake up and realize and recognize our privilege in every space that we occupy. It's also, maybe you're benefiting from a system, maybe you are privileged in a system, but stepping back and saying, wait, I still think this is wrong, I still think that this can be fixed. The third principle is something that I like to think of as horizontal acceleration. It's not thinking in a hierarchy, but thinking horizontally across the board. It's spreading ideas to others instead of being a lone ranger. What do I mean by this is, I think connecting with others through collaboration and coordination is what's gonna change things. For me, That's connecting with people that don't look like me, act like me, or think like me, and that makes me think in the most interdisciplinary fashion. Because I'm someone at the margins, and because I've had the privilege of studying Derek Bell, I realize that I can look into the ski community, see what's working and what's not working, and reimagine and reinvent diversity, inclusiveness, and belonging from the outside in. Thank you.
Another amazing speech.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, so before our next speaker, we're going to need your help with a little Spencer Prize tradition.
The Spencer 30-second challenge.
So, excited?
Yeah.
The Spencer Prize is named after Professor John Spencer, who was legendary for running his classroom like a public speaking boot camp.
So, for example, Professor Spencer would say, hey, Sade, come up here and give me a 30-second speech on ice cream or any other random topic, and it would be up to Sade to do just that, a 30-second speech on the spot.
Without ums.
Without ums.
Okay, so we're going to crowdsource a topic for these spontaneous speeches, and that's where you come in. If you are sitting in the audience, you're here on campus, please go to go/Spencer30. Take out your phones. If you are out there in streaming land, please go to go.middlebury.edu/Spencer30. And we would like you to submit a random topic, something that you would love to hear someone in this audience give a 30-second spontaneous speech about. That is go/Spencer30, the word Spencer, the number 30.
And we'll give you guys about 30 seconds to do that. Yeah. Can't wait to hear what they come up with.
Okay, so after this, I said stuff, we just on to our next speaker. Oh, wait, it's... Okay. Yo, yeah. Go/Spencer30. Works. Okay. Got it? So, we will soon be back to play
The
the
Spencer
30-second
30-second challenge.
But before that, let's get to our next speaker.
Another drum roll.
Let's
Let's you come on up.
I have a confession to make. I've been living with a condition called procrastinitis. And yes, I created that term. And I've never thought to seek help for it because everyone around me seems to suffer from it. And by everyone, I mean from world leaders to students to kindergartners and even professors. But don't worry, I'm here to help. According to my research, the causes include, I'll get to it later, whenever I have time to spare, or we could do some other time. The symptoms, on the other hand, could be as severe as intense heat waves, or as mild as, oh shucks, I should have bought that dress yesterday. As for the treatment, should I give it to you now? Nah, I think I'm gonna wait until later. The dangers of procrastination are all around us. Literally, the intensifying and increasing climate-based disasters that we all see today are the results of someone 60 years ago not doing something about it when they could have. For my snow lovers, which I know there's a lot in Vermont, climate change is the reason that you haven't seen real snowfall until about a week ago. If we hadn't ignored Mother Nature's groans a few decades ago, we wouldn't have to see her cry in the ways that we can't control today. Why did you wait? For students, academic culture, for the most of us, teaches us a fair deal of procrastination. We wait until the last day to start the essay, and we review the flashcards 5 minutes before the test. But as I've gone through my freshman fall, I've started to wonder if this culture also gets ingrained in the way that we think about our lives and our futures. I mean, what could happen if we dedicate our lives to the things that we care about earlier? Over winter break, I attended a conference where I was able to hear from missionaries that came from all around the world. These individuals have dedicated their lives to serving people living in impoverished areas by providing them with healthcare, food, education, clothing, and all the things that are needed to sustain them. Like me and you, they have empathy for those in unfortunate positions, but not only are they empathetic to their hardships, they're compelled to reduce them. During the conference, I attended a lunch, and while I was walking to Panera, I saw a homeless man, with a sign that says, "Hungry." And as I walked past, I felt bad, but I told myself, hey, once I get older, I'm gonna be helping people like him, so I shouldn't really feel bad, right? I wanna take a quick pause. Who's noticing some signs of procrastinitis here? This mindset gave me a temporary comfort, because I was so comfortable pushing things to my future self. But then I decided to take the first step. I invited the man with me, had lunch, sat down and talked about God knows what, but that was not my biggest concern, as long as I was able to say my first yes. And on the other hand, you could be a political science student that cannot wait to graduate and defend human rights in the White House, or a psychology student that has such a heart to listen and care for people's mental health, or even a law student that can't wait to pass the bar exam and defend justice. But this world cannot wait, could it? Well, here's the simple yet complicated solution. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step." Time is ticking, the most precious possession that we all have. And all I'm asking you to do is take that first step. Don't ask yourself where, just ask yourself, when should I take the first step? And I'm telling you the answer, it is right now. And so you don't need to have a political science degree to defend that student that's being mistreated by your professor. You don't need a psychology degree to listen to your friends, make sure they feel heard and seen. You certainly don't need a law degree to defend that stranger that's being picked on for dressing differently. All I'm asking you is, do for one today what you wish to do for all. I would love to end this out with a quick game. With your eyes closed, I want you to think of one thing that drives you, that always seems to be asked to wait until tomorrow. And with that in mind, I want you to picture yourself 5 years from now. Do you feel fulfilled? Or are you trying to explain to yourself for your wasted potential? Awake. I wish I could give you guys enough time to explain that to yourself, but I only had 5 minutes to speak, and you, my fellow humans, just like me, have such a limited time to make your impact. So do it now, and do it today. Thank you.
The competition is fierce this year.
Once again, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Amazing speech. And now it's time for another one. So another big drum roll. Our next speaker of the night will be Aaron.
When I first read Kanye's tweet, the one he posted back in October, in which he threatened to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, I found it kind of funny. Now, I should say I'm Jewish, and even still, it just seemed so bizarre, and I couldn't take it seriously. The next day, I go to class, and this past semester, I was taking Sociology of Modern Anti-Semitism. So naturally, we're discussing the tweet, and it becomes apparent almost immediately that nobody else in the class shares my reaction. In fact, it's people who aren't Jewish that seem to be taking it the most seriously. And they're speaking at length about the harm that this tweet is going to cause the Jewish community. And I walk out of class distraught because, of course, they're right. A statement like this made by someone with such a platform is going to have serious consequences. But it wasn't just that, because I realized I wasn't factoring myself in. At no point when I read the tweet had I thought that Kanye was talking about me, or my family, or my community. 1 week later, I'm back in that same class, and we're having a conversation about the way hate functions. And what emerges from conversation is this idea that when faced with hate, a person can respond in one of two ways. The first is exactly what you might expect. A part of your identity is attacked, and it hurts because you take it personally. But with enough repetition, you get this second reaction. A part of your identity is attacked enough that you cut ties with that identity altogether. And instead, you respond with total apathy. And in that moment, it clicked for me that that's exactly what I had done. I had read the tweet and thought to myself, I know what it feels like to hear an anti-Semitic comment and take it personally. Most Jews do. So what if instead I choose to feel nothing at all? And this was a worrisome realization for me because our conversation didn't end there. Some people in the class start talking about how dangerous this second kind of reaction can be. Because if one person responds to hate by separating themselves from their identity, who's to say that hundreds, if not thousands of people who share that identity aren't doing the same? And so it doesn't take too many logical steps to get from one particularly inflammatory comment like this to the weakening of an entire community. Now, do I think Judaism is about to disappear because of one comment from Kanye West? Absolutely not. Jews have been through much worse than a tweet, and here we stand. So if I'm not worried about the future of Judaism, I am at the very least upset to know that I had created distance between myself and my Jewish identity. But an essential first step was recognizing that I had done this in the first place. And who do I have to thank for that realization? The people in my class who hadn't grown complacent, who hadn't been desensitized, and could demonstrate what a proper reaction to hate speech looks like. All of this reminds me of the duty that I have, that we all have, to engage in issues that might have nothing to do with us, to stand up against injustice, even if we personally have no stake in the game. It's why we should be taking classes on subjects we know nothing about, why we should be studying parts of the world we've never been to, why we should be curious about the needs of our neighbors. It's why we should be embracing the unfamiliar. Because somewhere out there is a person with an identity under attack. And little do they know it, with every passing moment, their attachment to that piece of who they are is growing weaker. And if you can engage in their cause, if you can stand by their side, we'll all be better for it. Thank you.
Another amazing speech.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So, before we get to our game, we would love to introduce you to our esteemed panel of judges.
In no particular order, we have Vice President of Student Affairs, Shmita Razika.
We also have the Director and Curator of Special Collections and Archives, Rebecca Irwin.
We also have Vice President of Equity and Inclusion, Karam Hussein. A big thank you to all our judges. It's an honor to have you all here.
Okay, so it's time for our game. And I have to say, I looked at the spreadsheet and we got some pretty good responses.
This is my favorite part.
So, who would like to come up here, brave soul, and give a 30-second spontaneous speech about a topic I'll tell you in about a minute?
Come on. If our brave contestants can do it tonight, so can you guys.
Who is that?
Do I see any hands?
Come on.
Up there? All right. Yeah, let's cheer them on, guys. Let's cheer them on. Which way is it coming? Yeah.
Thank you for coming up here. What's your name?
Eunice Chabubi. Oh, that's loud. I'm sorry.
Okay, Eunice. You have 30 seconds to give us a speech about elephant fashion.
I'll put this down. Elephant fashion. I spent long nights pondering elephant fashion. You see, elephant fashion is plus-size fashion. Huge fashion. It doesn't come in small. It doesn't come in tiny. Only extra, extra large. And that's why I lost a mic. Because an elephant wouldn't use a mic. They just go big. They just go loud. Elephant fashion. Plus-size fashion.
I'm gonna go buy my elephant some fashionable clothes now.
Yeah, you
right?
should.
All right, we need one more brave soul. Come on, guys. Do I see a hand? Do I see a hand?
I know that speech was hard to follow.
Yeah?
Come on up. You got it.
What? Tell everybody your name.
Serena.
Serena. Give it up for Serena, guys. Come on. All right, Serena, 30 seconds to give a speech on your opinion on the chapel bells.
I have been waiting for this day for a long time, and now someone has given me a microphone. So to my friends who've already heard me rant once, here I go again. I cannot stand the chapel bells. I like to sit outside of Proc and do my work, and then there they go at maybe 12 for half an hour every day. I've heard Mary Poppins, I've heard Taylor Swift, and I always want it to end. And just a couple weeks ago, okay, it's a little bit sentimental, I'm sure I'll miss it someday. I had one of my friends from home visiting. I hadn't said anything to her at all. We're in my room, which is in Milligan, which is quite a distance from the chapel. And she says, "Those bells have been ringing for an hour. When do they stop?" And I'm like, "Yeah, welcome to my life. Maybe you don't want to go here after all."
Thank you. I'm impressed, and I'm glad I got to hear your very strong opinion on the chapel bells. So, we only have 2 speakers left. 2 speakers. And after that, while the judges deliberate, we hope you will stick around for...
The Spencer Prize halftime show.
But it's not really halftime.
Yeah, but it's the Mama Jama, so. That's right.
So...
But before then, it's time to hear another one of our amazing speakers. So you know the drill, guys. Drum roll, let's go.
Xander.
Well, it's a little unfortunate that we've already talked about the great fashion choices for elephants, because I have a little bit of a darker question to start with. How do you eat an elephant? It's an overwhelming task, intimidating even, and yet the answer is quite simple. 1 bite at a time. You see, in my Spanish class this first semester, I realized a real practical application of this funny idea, this random conversation starter of, oh, how do you eat an elephant? You see, I realized as I was faced with an overwhelming exam or test or project, I was more successful when I started early and did a little bit of work every day. And I also noticed that this was something that I've applied for years through my study of music. Now, music has been a passion of mine, and I've studied it for over the last decade. And the trick for me in developing those skills is a little bit of practice every day. Like I said, music is a love of mine, so it's very natural for me to pick up a guitar or play some piano before I go to bed, just a little bit every day. But the same cannot be said for my academics. Now, I had taken Spanish classes in the past, in high school, and I got into this unhealthy habit of putting work off, procrastination. It's always easier to just push things off and worry about them at a later date, but then I met with this late night before a test with an overwhelming amount of work to do and not enough time to do it in. And then I go in and I sit for the test and I already know I'm going to fail. You know, I know there was a time in high school where I started studying for a test during my lunch period. and the test was an hour later. It's a terrible feeling, right? We've all been there. You start preparing for a test too late, and you go in, and you already know you're going to fail. It's like starting a race and knowing you're not going to finish. It'd be the same as if I started preparing for a concert the night before. If I was performing for this audience here, sure, I might get 1 or 2 songs in, but then you guys would realize something was off. I'd start forgetting lyrics, forgetting melodies, and I would feel like a failure. It's awful. It's a terrible feeling, and we all know it. Some of us maybe a little too well. I certainly do. Now, with that being said, I could have mentioned any class where this concept would be applicable. Math, English, economics, you name it. But I've found in my experience that languages and music are in a similar camp. You see, learning a language is a skill that you take time to develop, much like playing an instrument or studying music. But the thing that sets it apart is if you take any time off, you begin to lose it. If there are any other instrumentalists in the room, you know if you don't play your instrument for a few days, we say you've gotten rusty. It takes a little bit for you to get back into the swing of things, and it's harder to adjust. Again, not a great feeling, but also easy to mitigate. A little bit of practice every day takes the stress off of it and keeps you prepared and in practice for your instrument, your test, whatever it may be. And I've also realized there's more benefit. Besides in a classroom, the grades or the scores that come with being prepared, I found for me, there's an emotional benefit. You see, you study for a test properly and you are successful. And that makes you happy, or it certainly does for me. And I begin to fall in love with the material that I'm studying. It gets easier. And I start to build that habit. And again, it's easier, I'm more successful, I'm happier. So I would say as we leave this room, the next time we're faced with an overwhelming task, like preparing a speech for a bunch of people, or a big test, or eating an elephant, start with the tail. Start with something insignificant, something small, and go piece by piece. And by the time you're finished, you're rewarded with a success that is so much more fulfilling because it's unburdened by the stress that would have come by letting your work pile up. Thank you.
That was a great speech.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So, we only have one speaker left.
I wonder who it could be.
Oh, no.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, yeah, drum roll.
Carolina!
I remember my first day of pre-K like it was yesterday. I walked through the main entrance of Cowper campus, holding my mom's hand, and down what felt like the longest hallway ever. I passed colorful doors, white cubbies, and blank walls aching to be filled with art created by a bunch of 4-year-olds. I reached my classroom at the end of the hallway, where I was greeted by a pale young woman with hair as orange as the sun. Eager for my first day at a new school, I smiled at her wide. She squatted down to meet me at my eye level, and she said, "Bienvenue, ma chérie, va chercher ton étiquette de nom." My head spun in confusion, trying to decrypt the words coming out of her mouth. My mom smiled at me like nothing crazy had just happened. So I walked in, found my name tag, and looked around to see everyone else speaking this bizarre new language I did not know. I was 5, I barely knew English. This journey I was soon to embark on had its ups and downs, but in the end shaped who I am today and how I got here. My parents decided to enroll me and my siblings in a French international school because they wanted us to be bilingual. To clarify, I am not French, neither is anyone in my family, nor do any of them speak it. I know most of you probably took a language in middle school or high school where you spoke primarily English while gradually learning the basics of the new language. I had a much different experience. I was 5 and thrown into a complete immersion program. English was prohibited until I was on the playground. My art, music, science, and PE classes were all taught in French. I learned French history, all STEM subjects using solely the metric system, and my writing assignments were to be completed in the quintessential French cursive. To say my English education growing up was minimal is an understatement. Although this experience may seem exciting and idyllic to the outside eye, I struggled with insecurities a younger version of myself did not know how to tackle. Despite English being my native language, I was behind when it came to reading and writing. All my club soccer friends received a more typical American education. I distinctly remember my coach asked me one day to write on his little whiteboard a word that embodies the meaning of being on a team. I was utterly embarrassed at the thought of everyone watching me fail at something so simple, and things only got harder. When I was 12, I moved to an American school, or what I labeled a normal school, but I underestimated how difficult things were going to be for me. For the first 2 years of my middle school experience, my teachers expressed concerns regarding my reading comprehension. They told me my writing skills were far below those of my peers, and my math teachers questioned my problem-solving techniques because my long division looked different than everyone else. I felt lost, I felt doubtful in the classroom, and I blamed my insecurities on my 7 years at the French school. I took a few years off of French until I picked it up again in high school, but the environment was different. But then I came to Middlebury. Most people know Middlebury has one of the best language departments in the country. I think I get it now. This past semester, I took a French class in the most objectively beautiful building on campus, the Chateau, which brought back warm memories from my childhood. In this class, I was surrounded by students who grew up in France, came from French-speaking families, or like me, and had attended an international school. We studied poems I grew up memorizing for homework and artists whose art I would recreate for projects. This class reminded me of something I had lost touch with, the beauty, the cultural diversity that hides in the depths of a language class. Taking this course forced me to reflect on my negative associations that I had with my time at the international school. I realized that it was not the burden I deemed it to be for so long, but rather a gift. Being bilingual has served a purpose much greater than I could have ever hoped for. It has created opportunities that young me could have only dreamed of, like flying to France to train with one of their top academies without experiencing a language barrier. Students from all ethnic backgrounds came together to coexist in a small French environment. As a school, we celebrated ethnic traditions and holidays through class assignments and performances. At such a young age, I was exposed to so much life beyond my own that I would otherwise be ignorant of if it weren't for learning French. So I've given you my life story, but what's the point? I know I'm not the first person to say this, but I am a firm believer that learning a second language is one of the most important things a person can do to connect with the world around them. Learning a language is a gateway to cultures and perspectives we are so often blinded to by the bubble we live in here in the US. The emotional disconnect I had to such a big part of my life grew into something that I now carry with pride. It was worth all the confusion I felt for so long. So, if there's one thing you take away from this speech, learn a second language. Learn it for reasons other than fulfilling a distribution requirement. Learn it because it's enlightening and because it broadens your understanding of life beyond your own. Thank you.
Très bien. So, that amazing speech was our final speech of the night. Let's give all of our finalists one huge round of applause.
And now, Dina and Sasha will take our amazing judges to their top secret judging location where they will deliberate. And when they come back, we will find out who will be crowned the 2023 Spencer Prize champion. Let's go, guys.
And while they deliberate, we are lucky enough to be able to welcome back to the stage
The Mama Jamas.
but she knows what she's doing. She pushed me in the pool at our last school reunion. She laughs at my dreams, but I dream about her laughter. Strange as it seems, she's the one I'm after. Because she's bittersweet, she knocks me off my feet. And I can't help myself, I don't want anyone else. She's a mystery, she's too much for me. But I keep coming back for more. She's just the girl I'm looking for. Can't keep a secret for more than an hour. She runs on 100 attitude power. And the more she ignores me, the more I adore her. What can I do? I'd do anything for her. Because she's bittersweet, she knocks me off my feet. And I can't help myself, I don't want anyone else. She's a mystery, she's too much for me. But I keep coming back for more. She's just the girl I'm looking for. But when she sees it's me, on her caller ID, she won't pick up the phone. She'd rather be alone, but I can't give up just yet. Cause every word she's ever said has been ringing in my head, been ringing in my head. She's cold and she's cruel, but she knows what she's doing. There's nothing to say, so my whole day is ruined. Cause she's bittersweet, she knocks me off my feet. And I can't help myself, I don't want anyone else. She's a mystery, she's too much fun. But I keep coming back for more. I keep coming back for more. I keep coming back for more. She's just the girl I'm looking for. Just the girl I'm looking for. Just the girl I'm looking for. to nothing. Can feel the corrosion coming up from deep in my soul. It ain't worth it, being hurt. My loving isn't worth it. Being hurt, my love isn't worth it. Being hurt, la la la, lost in the feeling now. La la la, la 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 la. La 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 la, lost in the feeling now. Here we go. So you think you finally found what you believe in, believe in, believe in what you believe in. And there ain't no way around it when you're feeling what you're feeling isn't worth it. Being hurt by loving isn't worth it. Honey, being hurt by love, if I can get with the two of us, what about the three of us? Then it's me, myself, and I. 'Cause it just isn't worth it. Being hurt by loving isn't worth it. Being hurt by love isn't worth it. Being hurt, so la la la, lost in the feeling now. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
She can say in her voice, in a way that she loves me. With her eyes, with a smile, with a belt, with her hands, with the money. I am the pieces of a plate, the pieces and the knives, the pieces of the things. Only one should love as much as Jesus Christ is dead. I got a future, so I'm singing for my grandma. You sing it too, but your grandma ain't my grandma. Mine is handmade, hand-fried, sun-dried, southside, hand beat the devil by a landslide. Praying with a hand tied, president of my band club, Santa. Something told me I should bring my brother to church.
Slowly, taking my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you on my Sunday.
You gotta move slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you on my Sunday. Yeah.
Come on in this house. It's gonna rain. Ah, come on in our rain. Come on in this house. It's gonna rain. Ah, come on in our rain.
You come to church with the candy and pessimists and true. I'm pessimistic on Monday if I am tweeting with you. You look so good with the hat on and the match with the shoe. You came to dress in your satin and came beside on you. I come to Christmas for dinner, I'm 50 rolls on my plate. Now I'm holding my stockings, holding your pockets in place. I like my love with a budget, I like my husband with a kiss. You smell like light, gas, water, electricity, rent. I feel like water, got my fire, got some fire. And I pray on a daily basis, so you got to start. See my dream, catch a dream, please. As a matter of fact, I ain't seen you in a minute. Let me take my butt to church.
Slowly, taking my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you on my Sunday.
You gotta move slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you on my Sunday. Andy,
Come on in this house.
come on in this house.
It's gonna
'Cause it's gonna rain.
rain down.
It's gonna rain. Come on in this house.
It's gonna rain.
Rain down. It's gonna rain.
a blank page before you open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close to get almost tasted. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Judge yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. I break tradition. Sometimes my child are outside the line. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way. At the blank page before you open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in that distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Judge yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Judge yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Unwritten,
Staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window. Let the sun
illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Set yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Rain on your skin. No one else can steal it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Judge yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still
Thank you so much to everybody for joining us tonight. Let's give it up one more time for the Mama Jamas.
I think everyone will be very happy to hear that our judges have returned with their decision. So, I would love to welcome our contestants back up to the stage with us.
Come on up, guys. Just go. right, guys. I know you just stopped, but one more round of applause for your 2023 Spencer Prize contestants. And now we invite Dina and Sasha to come up with this top secret envelope.
Ooh.
Okay. Because it is time to find out who will be crowned the champion of Spencer Prize 2023 speech competition. But in order to do that, we need to use one of the oldest oratory traditions, the Viking thunderclap. So you guys, I need a little bit of audience participation. You guys are gonna have to follow along with me. Are you ready? Okay.
Okay. Our 2023 Spencer Prize Grand Champion is Serena!
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to our esteemed judges, our amazing contestants, the Mama Jamas, and to all of you in the audience and everybody watching on Zoom. Thank you all for an amazing competition and have a great night.
Thank you. Okay, great. Oh my gosh. Amazing job, everyone. You all.
But I know that I'll be happier, and I know you will too. Said I know that I'll be happier, and I know you will too. Eventually, and I know just what I've got to do, and it's got to be soon, 'cause I know that I'll be happier, and I know you will too. Eventually, eventually,
2.
Latu.
No, some more pictures, please. Your friends are more than welcome to come on stage and take pictures too if you want, but